Is audio working? Audio should be working, yes. Um, Give me a second. I want to... I see the notification there, but I... Okay, excellent. We are on the air. Nothing in the live chat yet, but feel free to chime in with questions. Okay, anytime. Even snarky questions are allowed. Although there may be a snarky answer in response. You never know. Okay, this is episode 3 of API Case Files Live. My name is Paul Carr, and we do not have a special guest tonight. Sorry about that. We don't even have a co-analyst for the cases, as we did for Marsha Barnhart in episode 1. But this is not an interview show per se. If we have a special guest, that's great. If we don't, we're going to soldier on and do other stuff. So thanks for joining me. I am very happy to be here. This has been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I can't let it be too time consuming though, so I'm making it every other week. And I still work full time for a living, and I'm trying to get through the case backload log that we have at API. So that's going to take priority. So I want to get this to go smoothly and easily, and I think I've got most of it worked out in terms of the technology, although I think I'm going to change cameras. This is an excellent camera, but it's a bit of a pain to work with. So I'm probably going to get a cheaper, more smart camera that can stay on me or whoever is talking. And, well, that will probably be in the next show. By the way, I'll mention this again at the end, but in 2 weeks, that will be August 14th, we will have a special guest, and it will be Erica Lukes. And I'm expecting that conversation with Erica to take up most of the time for that episode. Come see Erica. Bring your questions. If you are familiar with UFO Classified, which she did for many years, then you're going to want to see Erica again and ask her questions. I'm going to encourage Erica to focus on the present and the future, and what she's doing now and what she wants to do. She's talked a lot about her past, but if you have questions, bring them on. We'll talk. And I hope to make this episode as question-driven as possible. I'm going to focus mainly on UFO videos that we have received here and those videos are some of them are super interesting. Well, all of them are kind of interesting at first. We've identified a few of them. Others we haven't identified, but they're not that weird. And some others are just remain unidentified. We closed some of these cases unidentified. I think going back, we might have an explanation for some of them, but maybe there's not quite enough information to reach a definitive conclusion. So the difference between identified and unidentified and not anomalous, which is sort of, it's not a category between identified and unidentified. It's just it's unidentified but not anomalous. What some people might call cases out of the low information zone. There's just not enough evidence to believe that here is really strange, but we also don't have enough evidence to tell you what it is. And I'll show you at least one case like that. It's a perfect example. Actually, I have two cases like that, but one we closed as identified and one we closed as unidentified. And these cases can be controversial within API. We can get into some very lengthy discussions about how to interpret a video. And that's something that you'll see a lot is when you start doing this sort of thing, you do it a lot, and I've done it a lot, and Marsha's done it a lot too, and other people at API have done it. You get to the video, and your first look is an interpretation of some kind. Remember, what you're looking at is not that thing out there. What you're looking at is pixels on a focal plane. The color is created by combining pixels, and they are moving because the pixels, the image is moving. So it's an image on a focal plane. It is not the thing. It's a two-dimensional digital electronic entity. It is not a UFO. It's not anything. And I would say philosophically, we really want to encourage people to take videos. We think video is underutilized. We always ask people who didn't take video why they took video, not in an why they didn't, but not in an accusing way, but to understand, because a lot of people say, well, look, with all these video cameras walking around in everybody's pocket, we should have lots of good UFO videos. And truth is, we don't have a lot of great UFO videos. We have some so-so ones, but even not many of those. So, why don't we? Well, the easy answer is, well, because there's nothing there. I don't think that's the answer, at least not entirely. There is less there, perhaps, than many of the true believers would like you to think, but we do think there's something there in some cases. Sometimes it turns out to be just a weird thing that we can identify, like a flock of birds. But there is something there. And sometimes the video is pretty good. It is. It's just that it's not that strange. What I really want are videos submitted to us that are strange and clear, in focus, showing reference objects in the frame. And I will show you an example of one that's not strange, but great reference objects. And if I can find it, just before we started, I wasn't sure where I was, but anyway, I'll show you a bunch of videos. And I'll start with one that I shot, and I was embarrassed that I didn't know what it was right away. I should have. It fooled me. I really thought it was something anomalous, or at least something unusual. I was out taking a video of this space station flying over, and I really wanted to capture that as it flew into the Earth's shadow. And I was doing, also I wanted to muck about with a focus mode that I hadn't used before. I wasn't doing very well with it. But anyway, I took that video and it looked strange to me. It didn't look like anything I'd seen before in terms of conventional aircraft. And I'll show it to you now. I'm going to switch over to a different view here. Okay. I might go here. This is an annotated, edited version of the video I shot. So the letters ISS, that I added that later. That's the space station. You can see when it goes out of focus there for a second.
That twinkle may just be my
And there's a star.
focus peaking.
Alpha Tau. There's the object. And boy, does it look a little strange. It's three red lights in a V type of shape.
I think that's a lens flare.
And it crosses the frame.
Pretty cool.
And because I was focused on ISS, I didn't follow it. It took a fair bit of analysis to convince me that this wasn't all that strange. And I'll share my Jupiter notebook with you if you want to see all the analysis I did. Great reference objects in this frame. Stars. Stars are wonderful reference objects. Unfortunately, things like clouds or sunlight can make it really hard to see stars. But if you've got stars, you're good. You don't need to get any other reference objects. I just need to make sure you know exactly the date and time at which you took the video. Okay, well, I can play that for you again. Move this out. Here we go. And
must be my focus.
there it is. There it is. There's the little object coming up. I drew a red circle around it. That's not real. Of course, none of this is real. It's just pixels on your screen.
I think that's
And then it flew off the edge of
pretty
the
cool. I
frame
didn't realize you could get lens.
as I was tracking the space station. So I edited that down quite a bit. So it turns out there was nothing very strange about this at all. And my analysis showed that, but also just looking at the ADS-B tracking data, which I should have done the instant I got home, but that was an Air National Guard tanker. And tankers have different lighting than ordinary aircraft. And another thing is, here in the DC suburbs, you will frequently see or hear tankers because of what they call the POTUS cap. That is a combat air patrol that it's conducted around DC to protect high value assets. And this particular one was the day before Biden's inauguration. So they had extra security laid on, and they had a tanker up from Alabama that was making big ovals around DC so that the fighters could come and refuel. Now, the three lights, I think one is just the ordinary light on the wingtip that you always see when it's from right to left. And the other one is probably the end of the boom. And the third one, I'm not sure if it's on the aircraft or it's on a receiver aircraft. Maybe so it could be two aircraft flying together. And I have seen videos of a tanker and a receiver aircraft not only flying together, but maneuvering, increasing their altitude slowly or turning together. They can do that quite well. So the fact that it is increasing a little bit in altitude at that time, not a lot, is not surprising. So yeah, identified. But the lesson learned here is not all aircraft flights look like conventional aircraft, and particularly military aircraft. And also, if you look on ADS-B, you will not see the combat aircraft. So the fighters that are circling DC, they do not want that to be public knowledge. So they don't transmit on those frequencies. They let the air traffic controller know they're there, but they don't transmit. Whereas the tanker, big beast going around these lazy ellipses, they don't bother hiding their location. At least not here when you're not in the combat zone. So that is one video that I found quite a good exercise in working through all the geometry and so forth that we see here and using the stars. Now I'm going to play another one for you. This one is a lot more interesting. We closed this case as unidentified. And this was shot by a witness with his cell phone in Tequila, Washington, which is a bit south of Seattle. And I have an idea what these might be, but it's not a slam dunk. So we'll just have a look. Have a look and tell me what you think. Make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. This is case 15001, shot in 2014, near the end of the year. And we are playing. We are not playing. Here we go. So, this is the original video shot by the witness, pretty much as he provided it to us, except he shot it in portrait. Can't see a whole lot.
What is this?
I had
Demon.
to really hone in on it and do some enhancement. Okay, so here we are. We're going to zoom in a bit. You see that? There's one. This is slowed down. There's another one. There's a freeze frame, so you can see there's 4 there. And they move around slowly. And this guy, and then he swings over to his right, and there's some more of them. Now you can see them with the naked eye. They were little white blobs in the sky, somewhere between him and the clouds. This was late in the day. It was late December, so the days were quite short. The sun was low in the sky. And now, finally, I wanted to use this scene to identify the exact location. We're able to geolocate exactly where he was by looking at the foreground objects, the buildings, basically. And yeah, we know exactly where he was standing, and that's pretty much all for that one. So, what are those little orbs? I had to enhance them just so I could see them. So they weren't super bright. They were clear. He could clearly see them with the naked eye, but he wasn't able to. And he thought they were quite strange. On the video, you can hear him saying, "What is this?" I might have said the same thing had I been there. We closed the cases. We don't know exactly what. We don't know exactly how far away they were, although they seem to be below the clouds, so that limits how far they. I think they might. Birds catching the late day light, white belly. Movement is not anomalously fast or erratic. Kind of smooth, suggests birds in flight. So, my 2 cents on that one. Not ready to declare anything. That would be one that I would consider to be unidentified, but not anomalous, or unidentified but low strangeness. They don't do anything that makes you go, whoa, how is that possible? They just move around slowly in the sky. Unfortunately, we don't have very much footage there. Just a few seconds of each in each view. So, more information helps. So one lesson is, if you are shooting video of something that you don't understand in the sky, shoot it as long as you can, and maybe move around a little bit, try to get a different perspective, but keep those reference objects in view. Okay. That's a good example of low strangeness but unidentified objects in the sky. I really like that video. I'd like to think it is something quite odd, but I really can't conclude that. Let's try another one. Again, now this one was a little bit controversial. This was shot in Austria in 2023 during a thunderstorm. I can't remember the name of the town. I'm sure it's in our report. And I'm just calling it the Austria thunderstorm. This is pretty interesting. Have a look. This. You can see it's a portrait shot at night. It's a high definition, 24 frames per second. And it's windy. You can see it's very clearly quite windy out. The trees are moving around quite a bit. Now, they're not trying to capture a UFO here. They're just looking at the storm. Lightning. Because lightning is cool. And you can also see a bit of a reflection there. Maybe from inside the building. They're indoors, looking through a window. At least that's my interpretation. Now, we're showing the entire clip because we do. Okay, now we're trimming the clip down to the interesting event, zooming in and slowing down. Something I often do when we're looking at these videos. You can identify that exact building. Now, there you saw it, that little anomaly. Right, pretty much right in the middle of the frame, just off to the right. That's it. That's the whole anomaly. Trimming it again, going in. Slow-mo. There's the second freeze frame. And then there's something there, but kind of vague. The next bright lightning flash, nothing's there. Something up there. Could be lots of things. So, that's it. That's that little leaf-like thing is the whole anomaly that was reported to us. It looks quite interesting. It was controversial within API, whether that was anything at all. In my opinion, which is just my opinion, that got blown onto the window very briefly. In just one frame, it's there and gone. You can see a frame before there's something blurry, and then the frame after there's something blurry. But that's 24th of a second roughly is the frame duration. Probably about a 50th of a second shutter speed. So it's not clear what it is. You can, however, quite a bit further away and very weird. That is a possible interpretation. When people interpret video, they always form in their heads roughly how far away something is and how big it is based upon that estimate of how far away it is. Those interpretations can be wildly wrong. And I'll show you an example of one when I think the interpretation was wrong. But it wasn't particularly an invalid interpretation. I just think that there was a much simpler and easier interpretation that involved an object much closer and moving much more slowly and much smaller. So we'll show that now. This was shot in California and is again, I think it was another cell phone video. And this guy noticed the light in the distance, what he thought was the distance, what he felt was over the mountains. Glendora is, it's a bit east of Los Angeles. It's snuggled up against a mountain range, like many other towns along that area. And it's your basic suburban type community. And they have, and the mountains are, I think, about 2 or 3 miles from where the guy was standing. I can check that if anybody wants a more precise idea. Glendora, California, 16 February 2021. You're looking north, northeast, high definition, 30 frames per second. Note, this is a daylight video. So he's just whipped out his camera, and we are able, based upon what we see in the reference objects there, to determine exactly where he was standing. He saw something over that way, over what he thought was over the mountains. Kind of lost it, doesn't see it. Don't know why
Come out again.
that way. Looking. What you should do
Here you are.
when you see something is keep looking up. Hold the phone out in front of you, hopefully, preferably with both hands, and look over the top of it so you can use both your eyes and the camera at the same time. Now, this is what he spots, this little dot. It goes back to his right.
Yeah. Look at the way it's moving.
Gets harder to see.
Come back.
It's still visible. Then just
The heck?
seems to wink out. Actually, but it is still there, actually. And now he's lost it. Oh, come back. Moves a bit more to the right.
Come back, come back.
And you can see it kind of flashing through the trees there. Now he's lost it. Can't find it again. Well, this was controversial with an API. One possibility was this is a very bright light over the mountains moving very fast. You can see those mountains in the background. That's one interpretation. When I looked at it, my interpretation was, well, this could be a drone aircraft with a light on it, moving a lot more slowly, conventional speeds, and the light is directional. So when they turn the drone, it's really hard to see. And those of you who have drones probably know that they can be hard to see when they're just like 100 yards. And if it's noisy out, it might be hard to hear them too. Because drones are not particularly loud. And if it's not a noisy environment, you can hear them from some distance away. But what I would posit is that that's what it was. It was somebody messing around with the drone. And it looks like it's landing near the end. A drone with a directional light on it, which is not that unusual. So anyway, let me show you what I did with it. Get through this. This is the boring part. We'd like to show the entire clip when we can. Then we'll edit it down to the fun part. And we encourage witnesses to send us. Now, don't edit it at all. Here's the first part of the clip, and the object is visible over there, but it's not visible all the time. See it? That little red circle, of course, I drew that in the video. Here we are for the second part of the clip. Background subtracted a bit. I don't see anything anomalous. Subtracting the background doesn't really help that much. Difficult to discern a shape. It's just a light. I have no idea exactly how far away it is, because there's no way to tell, but I think it's probably between 50 and 100 meters away. But that's only an estimate. It shouldn't be taken too literally. You can see it moving through behind the tree there and out into view. It's gotten better at subtracting backgrounds. It's a bit of a sloppy job. And then it just sort of slowly moves. The light is not highly directed. I think it probably covers a pretty broad range. Now, I think it's turning away There, you can see it just above the noise. And now these days we are getting better cell phone video. Say the newer phones have apparently better quality. Well, I think there's a lot of processing going on. Maybe what we're seeing isn't real, but it looks better. That is one of the problems with cell phone videos. They're consumer oriented. They want them to be pretty. They don't really care. You can see there's just a lot of noise. It's a light. And it goes over and it lands. So I'll stop it. This was controversial because there's more than one way to interpret this video. My argument was that it was completely consistent with the drone, with the light on it. There's nothing about it that is at all inconsistent. The fact you can't hear it, not surprising, busy area, lots of traffic around. The fact that you can't see the drone shape itself, again, not surprising if it's 100 meters or so away, and it's got a light on, you probably wouldn't see much shape. If you don't believe me, experiment with that. And, you know, with a good camera, yes, you can zoom in and get the shape. Maybe I think I have some videos like that, but I don't have them handy. I'll put those out. The drone at a distance, zoomed in with the telephoto lens. But that was just a good example of how you can get different interpretations and how you can be fooled. In my opinion, it wasn't over the mountains, or at least we don't have any evidence it was over the mountains. We don't have any way to determine that. But because of its elevation angle, you could easily say, well, it was over the mountains. Except right at the very end there, and when it seems to be coming down, it's obscured by the tree, so you can't tell what's happening. So it's unfortunate. I think it was just landing. Okay. So that was a fun. Not really fun. It was hard. We had to argue back. Now I'm going to bring up a This one is my interpretation was fooled, as well as everyone else who saw this video the first time. Honestly thought, we finally have a good video of a black triangle. Because I have never seen a good video. I've never seen even a mediocre video. Many people reported seeing huge triangles flying over silently, maneuvering slowly or even coming to a dead stop. Nobody's gotten video. Why is that? Well, your opinion would be of interest to me. I don't know why. Back in the days of the Belgian flap in the late 80s, there weren't a lot of video cameras handy, especially ones that worked well at night. So it's not surprising we don't have video from that. But since then, there have been many reports, and there's just no videos. There was a film shot during the Hudson Valley flap. It's not great. Could be planes in formation. Some people think it's not. I don't go into historic cases that much here, although I do have plan to visit one sometime in the future, but why don't we have a black triangle? Don't know. But this one almost had me thinking we did. Show you the video now. New York City, Brooklyn. I've spent some time in Brooklyn. That's actually, parts of it are very, very nice. We know exactly where the guy was when he shot this video. What story came out of where he stood for the first clip, and then he moved and shot a second clip a little bit later. And we know where he's standing there too. So you can tell because you can identify these stores from Google Earth. And so let's get there's two clips here. Clip one. Now he thankfully shot this at 60 frames per second, so it's pretty nice. You can slow it down well as well, 60 frames per second. There he is, he's zooming in. He keeps zooming in, and look at that. 3 lights. Looks like they're flying overhead. Got to focus there for a sec. Oh, okay. That was the first clip. There's the second clip. Notice that there's lens flares all over. Putting a really bright one. Second clip, only 2 lights. Now, I had to spend a lot of quality time with that because I really thought it was moving basically to the east from the East River and over Brooklyn. But then I took a much closer look. And let me notice this is pretty much when you first see it. And he's zoomed out quite a bit. You can see the shops to his right. There's a lens flare on the right. There's another one on the left. Actually, there's and other lights, street lights and so on. Building lights. You can see the triangle there. And this turns out to be a bit of a perceptual zooming in smoothly. This guy, I think, had some credentials as a professional photographer, videographer, possibly a producer. I'm not sure exactly what his that was, but he did a nice job zooming in smoothly at first anyway. So turns out when I went back comparing the apparent size to the buildings and signs and so forth that we could actually use Google Earth to measure, it doesn't change in apparent size. It's just the zooming in makes it look like it's moving towards you. It's not. It's a triangle of 3 lights that are staying about the same place and maybe moving very slightly to the right. We don't know exactly how far away they are. Estimate it roughly, but you have to make some assumptions. And we knew which way the wind was blowing. It was blowing to the right. And the second, you notice in the second clip, So the conclusion we reached, reluctantly, was that these were sky lanterns. You probably all familiar with sky lanterns. Sky lanterns are they're basically very small hot air balloons, and they're often launched in groups. They are illegal in New York City, but this will not be the first time somebody's done something illegal in New York City. So that was the conclusion we reached. Sky lanterns. I really wanted to say, hey, we got a black triangle here. But, unfortunately, we don't. Any questions? I don't see anything in the chat right now. Well, if you want something else, if you can ask me questions about anything. It doesn't have to be about these videos. It can be anything. I need to wet my whistle a little bit here. It's kind of. Lots of me talking. Next time it'll be hopefully more Erica talking. Let's look at something stranger. A video that I still don't understand, although some people have offered explanations. I don't have an explanation that explains everything we know. When I say no. Part of this is that we have the eyewitness testimony and we have the video. One strategy might be to discard the eyewitness testimony. Just look at the video. We don't do that, generally speaking, but we do de-weight the eyewitness testimony a bit when we have the video. Now, the problem with this video, as I will show you, is there are no reference objects. That is always a big problem. Because for one reason is you can't really tell camera movement apart from object movement. In this video, there is a clear case of what looks like object movement, or it could have been some fairly smooth camera movement, smooth but rapid. Usually camera movement looks like camera movement. It's kind of random. So I don't know what's going on here. I'll talk about some of the things that have been offered later, but let's go ahead and roll the video. This was, unfortunately, we never got the original video out of the phone. This is a 640 by 480 version of that. It's a yellow flag, at least if the witness refuses to supply you with the original file. You want the original file out of the camera untouched. Can't get that. Well, one possibility is the witness just doesn't know how to do it. The other possibility is that the witness is being a little dishonest with you. I don't think that the latter was the case here, but he never did answer our request to provide the higher resolution video that we're pretty sure he should have had. So anyway, let's play this. The case from Maine. Summer evening. No metadata. Definitely not the resolution he shot it at. He's looking east. That we're pretty sure of. This is the full speed clip with no hands. Now, at this point, we could say, we're not sure what that is, but it could be almost anything. It could be Now I want to look much more closely at it. Slow down and zoom in. I think he may have been some focusing going on there, or maybe that light is so bright it's causing saturation. It's hard to tell with cell phones what's going on. You can see there's two sets of lights here, not in sync. Second thing is there is this big jump. I look at the starting position where the lights are, then they move up, and they drop down. The witness tells us that's what he saw. He saw it go up, come back down. And that is if that really happened, that's quite interesting. I don't have an answer for what it is, but okay, when it see two different sets of lights, not in sync, flashing at at 1 per second. Could not find any foreground or background. We do believe that there were telephone poles and wires in that direction across the road, and then possibly crossing the road near where he was standing. Can't find it. It's just video quality is just too poor to find that. That's kind of analysis you do with something like this. And believe me, I spent a lot of time looking. I still don't understand. And I'm hoping that somebody will come up with either some corroborating evidence or similar case, or they can explain what it was we saw. I really wish we had. So this may be one of those things that is not quite in the low information zone, because even though we don't have a good quality video, we do see enough to say that does look anomalous. But we don't really have enough information to rule out some mundane effects that could have happened. So anyway, that was a fun one. We still don't know. I think that maybe, yeah, that's all the cases. That was the best one. I have another case that I want to show you a video of, and multiple takes on that video. But it's going to take an entire show just to discuss it. That is 2003 out in Ohio, summer. The guy was just taking video of a car. And, nice clear summer night in Ohio. We'll talk more about that when we get to it. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap that up there. It's been almost an hour. And reminder, in 2 weeks, that will be August 14th, Erica Lukes. I hope you'll be here to welcome Erica and to ask her questions. I did not get a single question tonight. That's why I just kept talking. You ask me questions, I will stop and look at your question, answer your question. And snarky questions are practically encouraged. So anyway, thank you. If you watched this live, if you didn't watch it live, if you're watching it now offline, that's fine too. If you have questions and you're watching this offline, you don't get a chance to ask them live, ask them for next time. I will answer them. I will take time at the end or beginning of the August 14th show, answer questions. August 28th, we don't have a guest I can announce yet. I've got a couple of people who said they will come on at some point. One other thing is that I wanted to talk about briefly is that there will be another Mysteries of Sky and Space convention here in Maryland. I believe it's November 1st. I'll check the date. Peter Resta is working on the website. Once he's got that together, I will put out that link all over the place, and we'll announce it on our website as well. So you should come to that. It's cheap. It's just one day. Food's not great, but it's just lunch, you know. And afterwards, we can go out and you know, get some good food and talk all you want. I'm hoping to be able to do that this time. I haven't always been able to stay after the con. I will be speaking. I don't know what I'll be speaking about. I know that Peter's asked me to show one video that I know that you guys have already seen, but I will be happy to show that video again at Peter's request, because it's a doozy. And I'll also be talking about, I think, in more depth about some other cases, particularly local cases that is Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, maybe Pennsylvania. So by all means, if you're in the area, it's in Gambrills, Maryland, which is near Crofton, at an Elks Lodge, plenty of parking. Not your usual con scene. Not the same old. It'll be different. So please come by. I will have a small table, and I'll be handing out placards with crucial information on it. Questions? Thank you for watching, and we will see you again 14th with Erica Lukes, and it should be a lot of fun. See you then.